What is going on, everybody? We are back with our JMU Dynasty here with Coach Deuce Trimble. We are going to dive deep into our recruiting board here before we get into our Week 1 game against Jacksonville State. Just wanting to show you guys who we are currently targeting and where everybody is at on the team. First guy, our number one player on the board is none other than Jordan Boschetti. He is from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. He's 6'1", 316 pounds. As we see here, he's got 90 strength, 78 speed, a 4-star defense tackle. Right now, James Madison is leading the way as they jump Marshall here in Week 1. Only team that's offered him a scholarship so far. As we see, Marshall, Clemson, and Virginia are down the board there, but haven't offered him a scholarship just yet. Next up on our board is Timmy Muwamba. He is a 4-star athlete, looking more like a quarterback from North Charleston, South Carolina. He's known for running the option. He's a really good option player. 92 throw power though, really great player. Versatile athlete who excels on the road. He has a dynamic play style and could really be a huge asset for this team. Currently, James Madison's jumped up a little bit. They are now number 3, but they do sit behind Marshall and Navy for him, and they are just barely in front of Coastal Carolina. Moving on to Jerry Tuttle, 4-star outside linebacker from Alexandria, Virginia. He's 6'2", 245 pounds. He's got strong play recognition, but a poor awareness. We haven't offered a scholarship to him just yet, and it's because we're very last on his board currently. Currently very last on his board. As you see, Penn State's leading, North Carolina, Michigan, Pitt, Clemson, Ohio State, NC State, and Alabama. And then at number 9, Northwestern. So we're just barely top 10 for this guy. And just seems very unlikely that James Madison will have a chance to get him. But they're going to keep an eye on him just in case. Number 4 on our board is Tyler Lombardo. He is a 4-star tight end from Colonial Heights, Virginia. He's a great team player. He's a great team player. We are number 2 on his board right now, behind Maryland. We jumped Ohio State, Wake Forest, and North Carolina. And the offense coach, the head coach, Jay Coleman, loves that he fights for his teammates. And so that's why they're targeting him. I think he can be a really great asset for this team and fighting for this team. So they're super excited to target him. Next up on our board at number 5, it's a little surprising, but it's Javon Judy. He is a 2-star free safety from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He's got good size at 6 foot, 218 pounds. He's got decent speed and acceleration. Overall, though, his defense does need a lot of work. But Coach Trimble loves this guy. This is a passion project for Coach Trimble. With proper development, Judy could be a future standout, but if he commits to James Madison, he's likely to be redshirted in his freshman year just so they can train and develop him more. Currently, he sits at number 3, just behind Florida and Central Florida. Next up is Terrence Irving from Lakeville, Minnesota. Head coach Jay Coleman hopes that Coach Trimble's Minnesota roots can bond with Irving as James Madison shoots up to number 1 with their scholarship offer. And that's what Jay Coleman was hoping for, that with him being from Minnesota, with Coach Trimble being from Minnesota, even though he's an offense player, he's just wanting Coach Trimble to bond with him a little bit to try and get him on this team. Terrence Irving looks like a pretty good running back for this team, and so they're going to start to push him a little heavier now that they are leading for him. Right under him, we have another running back in Anthony LeBoy from Brooklyn, New York. He's 5'10", 231 pounds, has a very, very impressive stiff arm. We are currently sitting at number 4 on his board behind Rutgers, Army, and Penn State. Not completely out of it just yet. Army's the only one that has offered him a scholarship at this point. And we're not completely out of the race, so we're going to continue to keep our eye on him. At number 8, we have Taylor O'Rourke, a 3-star left tackle. As you see here, the competition for this guy is fierce. NC State, Notre Dame, Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, Georgia, Alabama, Wisconsin, USC. There's really no chance that James Madison gets this guy. He's just kind of on the board to watch and see what happens, and to see if somebody maybe drops out and they can build their way up. But the chance of that happening is very, very low. At number 9 on our board, we have Anthony Basellia. He is a quarterback, 2-star quarterback from Buffalo, New York, 6'2", 213 pounds. JMU takes a huge jump as they move into 3. They only trail Temple and Rutgers right now for him. They've offered him a scholarship. He's got 86 throw power, 79 throw on the run. Not the best on paper, but he fits the JMU mold with potential to get the job done for this team if he decides to come here. Next up, we have Willie Cauley, a 3-star outside linebacker. Currently, we're number 2 on his board. Only 2 people that have offered him a scholarship is North Carolina and James Madison. He's got below average speed, but he's got pretty good tackling. Coach Trimble sees potential in him and would love to have him on this team. As we see us being in the number 2 spot, we have to be able to jump North Carolina for him. Martez Stanford, a 2-star outside linebacker from Virginia Beach, Virginia. Right now we're neck and neck with NC State with a little bit of a lead over them because we have gone ahead and offered him a scholarship. And with that scholarship offer on the table, Stanford is a key target for James Madison. This is a guy that we do expect that we would be able to get, and it looks like he's close. He's definitely close to coming to James Madison. Next up, we have Jamerson Hood. He is from Pennsylvania. He has very, very little interest in James Madison, but we're going to keep an eye on him just to see if maybe he falls a little bit and we can maybe snag him as a 2-star. But Akron seems to be interested in him. Rutgers and Western Michigan have all offered a scholarship. Victor Obi, he's from Delaware. He has got 81 tackling, 81 speed. Currently, we are fighting NC State for him, but we have made a scholarship, which has given us a little bit more ground. But he is a true gem discovered by Coach Trimble. In his first week of scouting, Coach Trimble has found a gem in Victor Obi, and he is a standout player with significant potential. As I said, 81 tackle, 83 acceleration, 81 speed, 76 agility, 74 strength. All the other areas we can clean up a little bit, but he would be a great fit for the James Madison Dukes. Up next, we have Jalil Estelle, who is a right tackle from South Carolina. He, before this week, was leaning towards Wake Forest and Duke, with James Madison being in 3, but where James Madison has offered him a scholarship, they have now jumped both Wake Forest and Duke. It'll be a challenge to be able to finish and get him, but the challenge is to bring him to JMU. The effort is going to continue. As we see, he's got some pretty decent acceleration. It looks like okay agility, okay run block, but he'd be a nice player they'd like to have on this team. Up next is Sidney Witherspoon. He is a one-star cornerback. He does have a scholarship offer from James Madison. If he were to come here, if he were to commit to James Madison, he would most likely be a redshirt player as a freshman and just a developmental player with potential to grow. We don't think he's ever going to be that star player, but he would add some depth with him being small at 5'8", 178 pounds. That's a little scary to look at, but we definitely think that he could be a good depth piece for us. After him, we have Alex Eli, a 3-star wide receiver from Chester, Virginia. Current interest, North Carolina is leading. JMU is right behind them, though. No one has offered him a scholarship yet. He's got solid short route running, a solid short route running for him, and is a promising wide receiver with room to climb on James Madison's board. So they're really interested in this guy. 16 on his board only because North Carolina's in front of him, but they think that there's a chance they can get him. Kofi Cross is our next target, as he is a 2-star right end from South Carolina. We are 6 on his board. We're not showing a whole lot of interest in him right now. He's not showing a whole lot of interest in us right now. He has been a very underwhelming player in his performance, but we're going to keep him on the radar, again, just in hopes that if he slides down, we'll be able to jump in for him. Deion Hazel, a 2-star running back from Pennsylvania. JMU is currently 6th on his board. He's not really close to committing, not ready to make a decision. We're going to keep an eye on him. Looks like Temple and Toledo are leading for him. Not really someone that we're going to put a lot on right now, as we think there are some better players in front of him, but definitely someone to keep an eye on. Then we got DeMarco Pierce, a 1-star tight end from Charlotte, North Carolina. We are currently number 5 on his board. Duke is leading by a big margin. Even Charlotte and ECU has a big margin over JMU for him. We're going to continue to monitor this situation, any developments. As you see, no one's offered him a scholarship just yet, so we'll keep an eye on him and see what can come from that. Next target here is Seth McCabe, a 1-star wide receiver from Fort Washington, Maryland. He's already down to his top 5, with JMU leading with a scholarship offered, Temple behind them, then Kent State, Ball State, and Georgia Southern. McCabe, if he were to come to James Madison, would add depth to the team and could be a very valuable punt returner, given his speed with the ball, being an 80 as a freshman. We could definitely see him by sophomore, junior year being a great punt returner, maybe even getting a little bit, not a whole lot, but a little bit of play at receiver. J.J. McGraw is a right end from Florida. South Florida is leading by a pretty decent margin. No one's offered him a scholarship just yet. We're going to keep an eye on him, but it does look like he's going to stay local in the Florida area. Dakota Jones, we were originally number 1 for, didn't offer a scholarship. We got jumped by both Duke and East Carolina University. He's from High Point, North Carolina, 6'1", 288 pounds. And they're gonna look to just keep an eye on him. Don't want to push too hard right now, as there are other players that they want to focus on. Dontrell Hicks, a 1-star right end from Cocoa, Florida, looks all but ready to commit to Florida International. Another player that's likely to stay local. I don't think there's any chance that James Madison gets him. I wouldn't be surprised if he commits the following week to Florida International. After that, we got Malai Tuel, a right outside linebacker from Owings Mills, Maryland. James Madison is first for him, as he's also gone down to his top 5. James Madison's offered a scholarship. Kent State has offered a scholarship. And then you got Temple, Ball State, and Georgia Southern there as well. He is a priority, and he looks promising, but we're not going to push too hard for him, as we do think there are other players who would play over him. Up next is Aiden Norden. We are number 1 on his board. He's not very enthusiastic. He is being watched as he is a potential recruit. We have offered a scholarship to him. Looks like he wants to be here, but I wouldn't see him getting a whole lot of playing time as a 1-star. Imani Ziemba is a punter that we are targeting. We have offered a scholarship for him. We are in need of a punter soon, and we really like this guy, and hopefully won't have to be punting way too much, but we do like him, and we'd like to get him on the team. After that, we got Matthew Madden, who is a defense tackle from Chester, Virginia. We are also leading for him, as we have offered a scholarship, and we're leading by a decent margin. Isaac Samuel, another defense tackle. We have also offered a scholarship to him, and leading over Temple, Navy, Duke, and UConn. Dorian Schumer, I'm sorry. We are also leading for him, as we have offered a scholarship over the same teams, Temple, Navy, Duke, and UConn. And then the one guy that we have had commit to our team is Colby Denton. He's a 1-star cornerback from Upper Marlboro, Maryland, 6 foot, 174 pounds. We beat out Temple, Kent State, Ball State, and others to get him. And this is the first commitment under Coach Trimble's defensive leadership, and he's going to use this to bring hope and excitement for the future for the James Madison Dukes. Some other guys that aren't currently on our big recruiting board, but somebody that we may be keeping an eye on to watch. One is Derek Masco, the 3-star right outside linebacker. 6'1", 235-pound run stopper. We are currently 3rd on his board. Currently not watching him, but someone to keep an eye on that we may add to our board in the future. He does currently have a scholarship offer from Northwestern. On is Everett Biggs, a 1-star athlete from Suffolk, Virginia. He has currently gotten a scholarship from Liberty and from Temple. Not the best chance that we get him, but we're going to keep an eye on him, see if anything changes, and we may add him to our board later on. Currently watching, we don't have him on our board just yet, but we are watching him, is Bryce Colombo, a 2-star quarterback from Asheville, North Carolina. 6'3", 189 pounds, known to be a scramble more than passing the ball. He's gotten offers from Duke and from Appalachian State, it looks like, and NC State is still number 1, and we are below Virginia Tech. We'll keep an eye on him, and we may add him to the board in the future. Do is look at Jacksonville State's roster. As we see, Clay Webb is their best player. It's going to be hard for our defensive line to get through him and get to the quarterback and the running back. And that's the goal for this team. For Deuce Trimble's defense this week is to get through the offensive line, stop the running backs in the backfield. And I think that's going to be part of Jacksonville State's game plan, is running the ball heavily with Andrew Paul, Anwar Lewis, and maybe even their quarterback in Zion Turner. So we're going to have to play some great defense up front, maybe throw in some zone blitz as well. And offensively, our game plan for James Madison is to do the same thing. Yes, we have a great quarterback in Dylan Morris, but we want to use Ayo and Tyler Purdy as a 1-2 punch for this offense. We want them to lead the game this week to help us offensively. Defensively, looking at our line, we're going to need Obby to step up. We're going to need Summerall to step up. Emmanuel Bush needs to step up. And we may even be seeing some of Terry Lockett Jr. as well. Maybe put him on the end and put Obby at defensive tackle with Emmanuel Bush. But overall, I think it's going to be a great game between these two teams. I do, however, think that James Madison wins this game 24-21. I do think it's going to be closer. And Coach Trimble's ready. He's ready to play or to coach his first game in college football. When we asked him about it, he said, "We're ready to execute our game plan." He said it's all about discipline and making plays on the defensive side of the ball. And if they can do that, I think James Madison has a very good chance to win this game. We want you to be a part of it. Engage. Use hashtag JMU versus JSU on social media this week to join the conversation and support the James Madison Dukes. As always, we thank you for watching the video. If you haven't already subscribed, hit the like button, share, leave a comment. And as always, we'll see you next time for our Week 1 game versus Jacksonville State.